I just want to say that I should have asked for $1 million for Beyonce's phone number and maybe, a planet to be named after me because I've got everything that I wanted. 2 close games in 2 days in this World Cup when we didn't have one for so many days. These are our lucky days. These are our happy days. Not so much for New Zealand, but it was a great game of cricket. Australia put into bat first in Dharamshala, got to 388, all out with 4 balls to spare. And New Zealand comes and geez, what an effort. They have almost had this chase. They would have got, if they would have got it, I'm sure they would have shattered at least a half a dozen records. But they fell short by 5 runs in the end. There was just that last wicket left. Loki Ferguson is hobbled to the middle to play 1 ball to hit for 6 runs. And wow, it was always going to be too much at that point in time. But it has been a fantastic game of cricket. You love it when it goes down to the last ball with all results open. You're watching Cricbuzz Live. I'm Gaurav Kapur. With me, Dinesh Karthik and Bhattacharjya. On a scale of 1 to 10. Give me your level of satisfaction after this one-day game.
9.
You still want...
So like
what do you want?
One run victory is 10 maybe. Or a tie.
I like it. I like it. So basically DK is saying that last ball's not good enough. It needs it to be.
We lost by 1. Or a tie.
Oh, wow. What about you, Joy? Are you a little more generous?
9.5. I can't give it, now he's defined perfection.
Yeah.
So I cannot give it 10, but 9.5.
Okay, so what I will do is that I will compensate for these cynical aged gentlemen. And because I'm an optimistic youth, I will give it 11. And what about you guys? Everyone? Yay! Everyone's so happy. It's not like these are Australian fans. These are all cricket fans. They're all Indian fans and they're all cricket fans. But really fantastic. Let's just talk about that chase. There's so much to talk about. We'll break it down one by one. I think DK just makes sense to start with Rachin Ravindra because Rahul and Sachin, that's his inception story.
Correct.
And today he has lived up to those great names.
Look, I think he's been the find of the tournament so far. Yeah. Not only just for New Zealand, but for world cricket. Just the way he's able to focus and make sure that he's able to be consistent and also the way he paces his innings. The youngsters can learn a lot from not getting too overawed by the situation, constantly hitting boundaries when the balls are bad, and when he manufactures a shot as well, it more often than not is a shot that is played within his game plan. So it is he's quite the batsman and one for the future. And I think world cricket will be pleased to have a mixture of Rachin, or rather Rahul and Sachin, as one of the
people to look out for.
People to look out for. That's
right. I'd definitely say those are big names to live up to. If you were to just nitpick, and we'll talk about, of course, how good he was, but if you just nitpick, you would just say perhaps just decided to go a little too early.
I agree with you. I agree with you because he was 116, he was batting beautifully. And I think at that point in time, I think the pressure could have been taken, the risk could have been taken at the other end. Because I think the one thing we were saying was that if he continued to bat, he was so dangerous because his ability to be able to hit the spinners at will meant that they couldn't really put any pressure on them. Every time they thought they'll put pressure on them, get a few dot balls out, he'd step out and hit a 6. And that's his unique ability. And what happened after he went is that scoring rate slowly started getting pushed. They started going on the defensive. He just needed to have stayed on 5 more overs. We were talking about daddy hundreds. Rachin Ravindra got 116. Had he got 146 to 150, I think they would have won the match.
Yeah, and he was looking good for it, wasn't he, DK? I know, the thing is that you see that it gets so close and you're thinking he has kept the whole innings together, or maybe we're just not giving enough credit to Pat Cummins because he has been great towards the end, and that was a very clever ball because he rolled his fingers. It was a cutter, but it was just too far from Rachin.
I think it's a tad bit unfair to say that Rachin got out early, only because that he's hit 15 boundaries and he's probably taken 10 risks in that. Very few instinctive shots. So when you keep taking one risk after another, and that's why you've reached a stage where you can compete with the total, you are bound to make one mistake or two mistakes. There was one very edged and he was lucky that nobody was there. But this one, obviously, I think Pat Cummins really bowled that ball well, and he was bowling a lot of slow ones. Rachin was coming across and hitting a lot more, but you could see it was a matter of one bad shot. You're batting over 85, 90 balls and you have to keep up with the rate. It's already 15. After 35 overs, when we were at the Combox, they needed 15 and over. And to still stay in the game and lose by 5 means they've constantly played shots. And when you keep playing shots, you are bound to make the odd mistake. And that's what happened with him. Ideally, like what Joyda said in the break, one guy needs to get 150. And that could have been him. But if he doesn't, you can't fault him because he is constantly from ball one looking for the boundaries. That's the only way you can stay in the game. So I understand where he comes from. Great execution from Pat Cummins as well, who I thought bowled really well in the back end of his spell.
Such a good point by DK that Rachin Ravindra has really been the most impressive find, because he's obviously been doing well for New Zealand, been doing well in their domestic, but on an international stage like this, to come and to grab it with both his hands, I think he's been fantastic. Also, with him, you're thinking that, the power play was, it wasn't the ideal platform that was set. We always talk about it. You would rather be 70 for 0 than 90 for 2. Today they were like 75 for 2. So it wasn't 73 for 2. So it was definitely a power play that belonged more to Australia, given the fact that they needed 388.
No, absolutely. And I think that's what the way they fought back. At every point in time throughout this chase, it looked improbable. But two things remember. They've never allowed their run rate to drop below 6.67. At even the worst of times when they're getting bogged down, they're scoring at more than a run a ball.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the reason why they stayed in the hunt throughout. And then towards the end, 2-3 big shots, and suddenly you see the Australians in a panic. If Labuschagne had not saved one certain 4, dived and saved one certain 4 in the boundary, and the next one got a rocket throw in to run this one out, Trent Bolt out. Was it Bolt or was it Neesham?
I think he ran out Neesham.
Neesham out. That would have that was the game.
Yeah.
So finally, when we talk about faulting tactics and all that, they took it to the last over and the last ball.
You have to give them a lot of credit, because there was a 40-run delta in power play 1. At that time, when you're looking at it at the end of 10 overs, 2 wickets down, 73 DK, you're thinking, oh man, they're going to really fall short. After that, to recover, to bat, to use your wits, to use your game sense, to use your smarts and take it to within 5 runs, you got to give it to New Zealand.
Oh, absolutely. I thought New Zealand, matched blow for blow with Australia. Australia were brilliant with the bat. New Zealand were definitely very, very good, because that middle phase between 11 and 30, they got 135 for the loss of just 1 wicket.
That's
means
the point.
They are still playing shots, they are keeping up with the run rate and not losing wickets, which is a testament to what a good team this is. And that's why they are in the top 4. And you can understand, yesterday when we were speaking about Pakistan, we were speaking about this. One batter not getting 100 is where Pakistan have lacked, whereas New Zealand today shown how it needs to be done to chase a big total. And also, if you remember in the pre-show, we spoke about them needing to be between 260 and 280 to be able to, just for the loss of 4 wickets. And they were 5 wickets down and the 40th. And that 1 wicket made the difference there.
Yeah.
Because your ability to accelerate through the first half of the last 10 overs, which is the first 5 overs, comes with how many wickets you have in hand. If you have lesser wickets, you will tend not to accelerate so much. If you have 6 wickets, you will end up accelerating a lot more than you would. So that is where, I won't say a trick is lost or the game is made, but that was a very critical time at that point when they just lost that wicket of Rachin Ravindra, which was the 5th wicket to fall.
Yep, in the 41st over.
And that was the game changer.
It really was, and that's why when you're watching it, you get a little frustrated because he's doing so well. You always root for the young guy, and we've made no bones of the fact that, New Zealand is everybody's second favorite team after their own team, right? You're always kind of cheering for them because they're below the radar. You've cheered for them in 2 finals, but, they came so tantalizingly close both times, once losing to Australia, once... Well, not losing to England, but England winning for another day. But yeah, so you're always kind of rooting for them. And for this young kid, right? You're rooting for them. And then you think in the 41st over, oh my God, that's just 1 wicket too many. But that's Australia, right? They're clever. They got that wicket.
Also, just go back to one thing. If you had a situation like this, you see that one is a fall of wickets. Had Kane Williamson been fit, Rachin Ravindra wouldn't have played a match in this World Cup.
Oh, yeah, good point.
He would not have played a match in this World Cup. So that is the other fascinating thing. He gets that chance with Will Young and Rachin Ravindra get that chance.
Or at least playing at 3. He wouldn't have played at 3. He opened one game when Kane Williamson came.
First game.
Opened and Will Young didn't play. Yeah.
And then he goes on and both these big runs, his first big runs is scored, both these runs are caught chasing. And let's face it, even 280 is not a small chase. 280 is 280. They did it in 36 overs with wickets in hand, 8 wickets in hand.
Yeah.
Today they were chasing 380. And to score runs of this variety at this pace while chasing, will tell you. I mean, today we talk about Cricbuzz and say the Cricbuzz's problem was the chase till the last match where he batted very well in the chase. But for a kid who's just about made it to international cricket to chase so well is just amazing.
A 77 ball 100, and he got a quick 100 earlier in the World Cup as well. So he's getting those runs and he's getting them quickly. And to take that responsibility when you're number 3, Kane Williamson, your captain,
Exactly.
your kind of your spine, your backbone, the guy who holds it together. He's out of the World Cup and you're given number 3. Geez, this guy's taken to it like fish to water.
The one thing that he can expect is come November 15th, he'll be slightly richer. Or December 15th, he will be
Auction.
a touch richer than what he is today. Closer to the likes of Dravid Sachin.
Ka-ching! Yeah, many paddles? You think many paddles this
Quite
auction?
a few, for sure, quite a few.
Yeah.
In the small auction also, people tend to go a lot more. So
Lot more,
it can
because
be
it's limited
one
fee.
where, as I said, could be a good payday for him.
And also, it's rumored, I've heard murmurs that this auction may happen in Dubai. And anyway, Dubai, you feel like spending a little more money, right?
You've just come out from a grand hotel and you say, yeah, come on.
Come on! What's the big deal?
What is 15 crores for a player?
Yeah, there you go. Here's 4 gold biscuits because we're next to the gold souk. Take him. Yeah, so that may happen. But that, of course, is going to be what? Yeah.
I'm just thinking that the other person who will be looking at the same way is Travis Head.
I would be surprised.
Yeah, you'd be surprised if?
He goes for big money or goes at all. Because he was there last year as well, but didn't go. So
Ooh, that's
not many openers required at this stage.
That's a valid point. Travis Head, of course, was absolutely fantastic today. The story of the first half of the game, in case you missed it, was Australia was put into bat. Tom Latham thought that they might get something out of the conditions, a little bit of swing, maybe in the morning in Dharamshala. It was not to be because there was a brutal attack on the New Zealand bowlers by David Warner and Travis Head, who's come into the team today after a long layoff of injury. And they were fantastic. They had a 170-run odd partnership in 115 deliveries, which really put New Zealand back. But then their unlikely hero was Glenn Phillips, who bowled 10 overs for 37 and picked up 3 wickets, kind of pulled it back. Yes, 388 is a pullback. Because at one time, I kid you not, we're not joking. We genuinely threw the number 500 around. We had, right? It was only half joke, DK. When we threw 500 around, it was half joke. Let me tell you, no one will admit it now. But there was a time when 500 was just being casually thrown around the office and the studio saying, oh, what? Can it? But anyway, 388 was what they got. And this is how they got it. It was Travis Head getting 100 and in really quick time, look at it, 109 of 67. And then towards the end, and that's what really helped them, their middle and late middle order, Glenn Maxwell, 41 of 24. Joss Inglis, 38 of 28, and Pat Cummins, for me, he was the star of their batting effort. Because that 37 of 14 in the end, when you look back at it now, DK, you're looking at it and saying, that may have just been the thing that won it for them.
I think so too. I mean, the way he bowled at the death and his crucial runs at the back end of that inning was quite some good hitting. We've seen it in bits and pieces here and there during IPL for Australia, but I think he batted really well, yeah.
Brilliant. You know, I just want to say something. This is the 6th match for Australia? Is this the 6th? It is the 6th.
It is, yeah.
It's the first match in which Pat Cummins has finished his bowling quota. Okay? He's been bowling 7 overs, 6 overs, 7 overs, 8 overs, never completing his quota, never trusting himself at the death, getting in the 41st, 42nd, getting hammered, going off, and Hazelwood and Stark are finishing.
Yeah.
So he's just not trusting himself. Today, sometimes it happens. You get runs, you feel better about yourself, and he got that slower, just the slower ball coming, the slower ball which is high, and just kept bowling that ball, He got Ravindra first, he got the second wicket, but he completed his quota. And that is something that tells you that it's a big thing for him as well, because I think in his head, something has moved. He feels now that he has the ability to bowl at the death in these conditions. I mean, it's an important thing for Australia.
Yeah, he's coming into this tournament at the right time. They've got 4 wins on the trot now after 2 losses.
Which is why you see Hazelwood and Stark have not finished. Yeah. Because normally at this period, Cummins will not be bowling. Cummins is finished at 8 and these two will be bowling their extra 2 overs.
Yeah, and he was very clever today. And look at it, of course, this is the first game that Stark's gone wicketless, right?
Yep.
So it's the first
finally, after 22 matches or 23. Was it
2015, 2019, 2023, this is the first World Cup match where Stark has gone wicketless.
No, in the history of him playing. So he's been playing from 2015, you're right. So it is the first game ever in a World Cup that he's gone wicketless.
Yeah. Wow. It's a big day for him as well. He did pick up the 2 catches because there was the company, the private limited company or the partnership of Stark and the LLP of Stark and Hazelwood that got. I think Devon Conway could consider himself just a tad unlucky.
100%.
with that dismissal?
Yeah. I mean, those are the ones that some days it just goes to the boundary. Some days you just find it goes straight in the bread basket of the fielder. That one straight into. And Stark is a good fielder. He's a really good, great hands. You can just see he's got great positioning of his fingers. So overall, unlucky for Devon Conway. He actually got off to a really good start. It was good to see him do what he did, but unlucky today.
Of course, the partnership that Rachin Ravindra had with Daryl Mitchell, and that partnership was so key for New Zealand because they had lost 2 wickets at the time. They needed around over 300 runs to get when they had lost those 2 wickets. They come in and they are like this spine, right? Because you've got to build, but you still can't fall behind. So 96 of 86 was pretty decent at that point in time. I mean, Daryl Mitchell will also be probably be a tad disappointed because he's been getting those big scores. So he'll be a tad disappointed that he couldn't take it further.
I think so too. And I think had he batted a bit further, I mean, things could have been different because, the way Rachit Ravindra played, a lot of it was compensated by the fact that Ravindra just took over from there on and kept playing.
Yeah.
But had he played on exactly his point, 1 wicket less perhaps, you could just go a bit harder.
Yeah.
As it turned out, when you have a 5-run defeat, these are things you think about, unfortunately.
We must also talk about Jimmy Neesham, who is prolific on social media and was prolific today with the ball, gave away 27. So prolific for Australia then. Gave away 27 in 1 over and 5 in his other. Just bowled the 2 overs, but came in and made amends with the bat. Got a 50, got his 58 at a strike rate of 150. And he will just be gutted, DK, that he couldn't take New Zealand home and got out with 1 ball to spare.
True. I think it's been a day when, with the ball, he started well. He picked up a key wicket of Glenn Maxwell at that stage, in the first over. But the second over was something you'd like to forget very, very soon. And when he came to the bat, I thought it was a very tough situation, but he handled it well. He took the game deep, played lovely shots, played shots that is to his strength. But at the end, probably needed a bit of luck and a little more, you need to stay a little calmer at that stage. Maybe he just wasn't ready for that run as sharp as he could be because there was no 2 in that and the bounce was right into his hand. So taking everything, he had to run though. So I would say that if he had to do it again, how I would do it differently is 49th over, try and take as much strike as possible. It's only going to happen if you hit 2 sixes. This total looks a lot more, this game looks a lot more closer because the first ball of the 50th over went for 5 wides.
Yeah.
If that had not happened, it would have been a different story altogether. So he had 1 touch too many to chase in the last over. In that 49th over, he should have looked to play 5 balls and take the last ball for a single, and in those 5 balls hit 2 sixes. If he had planned like that, that was his best chance. So I think his calculation can get a little better because he was just happy to run the single and give it to Bolt. You weren't going to get too much with Bolt, but the first ball he hit it for a 6. So here's your opportunity. You just need to get 1 6, and he couldn't. So these are small technical things that he could look, or rather tactical things that he could look at when chasing down totals. He was so good, but he fell short in the end because for me, I thought he could have thought a little better.
Does he have any experience of chasing totals that he's talking like this?
A few.
Does he?
Perhaps.
Has he ever done it?
Just a little bit. Just a tad.
If you don't...
He's done a bit in purple. I've seen him do a bit in purple.
Okay.
A few times.
On YouTube, no? There's something there, yeah.
You know what team that is? I've seen him do it in blue as well. I mean, on YouTube, it is the most watched video.
No. The worst part is not that it's a most watched video. The second most watched video on YouTube on cricket is the over before that, which he also smashed.
I see it. Really?
So he's first
I didn't know
second.
that. I didn't know the second.
He's gold and silver. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Both you have. Who's got bronze? I'm very keen to know. Pata karo bronze kiska hai? Oh, really? Oh, stop it. Stop it. But yeah, they fell short by just a few runs in the end. But you know what I was surprised about? I'll be honest with you. In that last over, Manas Labuschagne diving at the boundary after what had happened, I think, a couple of overs before with Mitchell Marsh, who went for a dive, and I think he has made the basement parking for the Dharamshala Stadium. Right? It's just taken like... He was like one of those...
And given that...
What are those earth movers? What are those machines, the big ones?
Excavators.
JCB.
There you go, the JCB excavator. It was like his knee, and he's also a big unit. So it was like an excavator. That was a lot of the ground that came out, Joy, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And the entire Australian bench must have looked at it and dugout must have had a heart attack because he anyway gets injured very easily. Yeah. And for him to walk after that and walk away, it was it's palpable relief you could make out from them. But that ground is not an easy ground, but that shows you the desperation Australia had today to they wanted to win today. They
Yeah.
really wanted it bad.
I think Manas was anyway okay diving. He was just probably looked at the way he was batting today. Said, "I don't think I'm going to play the next one anyway. So let me just kind of slide and do whatever I can." Did it affected the run out? That meant that Loki Ferguson was on strike in the last ball. It was just a little too much to do. But all in all, I think this has been a fantastic game. Dharamshala, he gave you 388 in the first innings. Yeah, look at you, DK's clapping. Yes. It has been. You know, one day cricket gets a bad rap a lot, mainly from me, about the fact that the games are not close, that they get decided way too early. I think today we'll have to give it to this game and to both these teams. They fought right till the end, and they've just given us a very exciting game.
This is a great advertisement for ODI cricket. You need to wait till the 100th over to find out the result. Now that's almost the best that you can ask for. Yesterday, very similar, right down to the end. They got it in the last over. So, 49th over rather. So, it's been two great games on the bounce, and that's what you want to see. And it's good that Australia won, because there are still teams like Bangladesh, Netherlands, Afghanistan, all of them. I don't know why I'm not saying England, Pakistan, but they'll all be like, can I go on top? So, yes, mainly Afghanistan and Sri Lanka at this stage would like that result.
Well, you're not saying England and Pakistan because you watch. So you're seeing what's happening, and that's why. But there you go. This is a good result for the points table. It's a good result for the tournament, with Australia winning. Australia and New Zealand now are neck and neck. They're at 8 points. South Africa and India are at 10 points. I haven't learnt it. Bring it back. I'm trying to get through the whole thing. Yeah, okay. Of course, India has a game in hand right now, as does Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, England, Netherlands. So what can happen if Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, if these two can win a game each? They're not playing against each other, right? They've
I
already
think
done
Joyda
that.
explains this the best. I seriously don't have clues about points.
Let's defer to the professor of mathematics and existential calculus.
Existential. No, I think what has happened is that now the chances of a 10-point qualification have actually increased. Because what's going to happen is South Africa and India are going to go ahead. And then you have a situation where New Zealand is sitting out there. If New Zealand goes to 12, New Zealand and Australia, both the odds of both going to 12 are not that high. One of them gets stuck on 10, then you can look at Sri Lanka has a chance of winning at least 2 of their next 4 matches. They need to win all 3 to get there. Okay, and further down, Afghanistan is in the same situation. They will also need to win at least 3 of their next 4 matches. If they do that, they get to 10. I think they still have a chance, but it still is Australia and New Zealand's this thing to not stumble.
Yeah.
If Australia and New Zealand don't stumble and get 2 more wins each, it's over.
And interestingly, I'll tell you this. Last World Cup, Joyda, 2019, similar. They won 5 on the bounce and lost last 4.
Yeah. New
And they were
Zealand just
4th
qualified on NRR.
Yeah.
4th place. This World Cup, they won straight up and they've lost 2 on the bounce now. Also, New Zealand have much tougher games to play compared to Australia. So Australia have after all that's happened, especially after the first week when a lot of people were questioning whether Pat Cummins should be captain, whether, the Australian team is struggling, it's no more headless like you say, and everything put together. They actually have the easier draw. Is that fair?
Much, much easier draw. And that's the point, that we were both down on 2 teams, England and Australia. And the point is, Australia has just turned itself around and England has just gone worse from where they were actually.
Yeah. Yeah, they have. And, well, Indian fans will be hoping that they don't recover tomorrow, right? It's always good to see an England team do well, but Indian fans will say, next match.
But that's a horrible thing, because see, the situation is, Karthik will agree, this is a really good team.
Yeah.
This England team on paper is a really good team.
Absolutely.
Now, when India is playing them, and I know that players don't think about it much, everyone's like, you should beat them, yeah. Everyone is beating them. The truth is, they are actually a really good, talented team who could come good on any day. You have players like Joss Butler, Ben Stokes, Bairstow. Any of these could explode any day.
Yeah, sir, I'm agreeing with you, and I'm saying this is a very good team, and there are cricket fans who want them to do well. Indian fans just don't want them to do it tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. The Indian team has this headache because everyone is like, England, everyone beats them. But you're playing against them and you know that the day they turn up, they're very good.
They're not. I'm sure that the Indian team is blocking that noise out, right?
Yeah, I think
you
they
have to
focus on what they can do.
Yes.
Look, if the England team really turns up, they can definitely trouble India. But with the way they're going, there are way too many moving parts out there. To harness everything and get it into one shape isn't going to be that easy. But I promise you, The England team is so good that if we had to do the pre-show again where we decide who will the top 4 be, I'll again put England. That's the kind of team. I mean, look at that team. Malan, Bairstow, Root, Stokes, Butler. We're talking about the same team won the World Cup, literally. And
Correct.
the same team won the T20 World Cup. So it's just that they're running out of form.
Yeah. And of course, they've been hit by an injury as well. Reece Topley is not on the side anymore. But the question again with England is that will they go with the same team? Will they go with the 3 all-rounders who they had brought into the team last time? Will they make changes again? Because that's the thing with England that's been disappointing is there's just a little bit of confusion in their thinking which we've never seen before.
We've seen before 2019. I mean,
so I'm talking about from 2019, the new 2.0
2.0
white ball
absolutely.
cricket.
Look, I don't think, because they did one U-turn. They went from all-rounders, they lost 3 matches, suddenly dropped everyone, went to 3 specialist players, David Willey batting at 7. That didn't work out for them. They were smashed by South Africa. Then they changed again. Now I think if they change again, people will laugh at them for nothing else than that. I think they'll stick, and it is still better having more options. And I don't know about how much turn the pitch will take tomorrow. I don't know what Lucknow is. But maybe Moeen will get to bowl a little bit more than he normally does.
I feel they will have at least 2 changes. I feel Gus Atkinson will come in for Mark Wood. I feel that is a possible change. And it'll be between Liam Livingston and Harry Brook.
Okay.
That's batting.
It's Mark Wood's home ground, sir. Home ground for Mark Wood. Yeah, Lucknow.
Where very often, though, they used to prefer Dushmanta Chamira to him. They used to let him ahead of him along.
It's his home ground. He's probably looking at that and going, maybe not. All right, so could be those 2 changes. Will we see them or not? We'll find out tomorrow morning. With India, well, there's news is that Hardik's still not available tomorrow. Not available tomorrow as well. So they perhaps looking at going with the same team? Unanimous?
95% it'll be the same team.
Or the other 5?
If it's going to be a very dry pitch and they feel that Ashwin is the better option. It's a big risk because you got to understand when you play with 2 medium pacers only, the 45, 46th over you have to bring the fast bowlers. There is nowhere else to go. So from 40 to 45 you have to bowl spin.
Yeah, so you can't use them in the middle overs.
And so if you're defending a target with a little bit of dew, you're bowling 5 overs of spin when the ball is slightly wet. That is too much at times if you're defending it totally. So that's always the worry when you play 3 spinners.
But the way Shami did in the last game, they're probably going with Shami, Siraj and Bumrah, right? That's what they're looking at.
He's saying that's the safer option, even if the pitch is turning, because you don't want to get stuck bowling second and get this thing out there. The word is that Virat has turned his arm in the net. Surya Kumar Yadav has turned his arm in the net. Everybody is bowling in the net. So that's
Rahul Dravid also is bowling.
I think the Indian coaching team is just standing there with the ball going, anybody? Somebody? Anybody? Just looking at the batters. And the batters are all trying to... you've seen Rohit Sharma get a couple of hat-tricks in the IPL, stopped bowling. Virat Kohli has himself criticized his action and wondered why it's so weird. And Surya Kumar Yadav, we've seen him bowl a little bit sometimes. But I don't think I've seen him internationally. He's never bowled.
I've seen him bowl in the IPL for KKR.
Back in the day. I don't think he ever bowled for
2014.
MI.
It wasn't a pretty sight in those days. That's all I'll say. But he's gamely. He's a gamely goes on.
Yeah, but you see an England team, DK playing with options in bowling, and then you see an Indian team with only 5 bowlers. It's quite interesting.
I'll take the results that India are producing for sure.
Yeah.
That is true.
Correct.
And look, I think India is an Achilles heel for India. Hardik is an unbelievably important player. He is 2 players in one. He can properly bat, properly bowl. So, without him, it's a nasty mix. At least if Jadeja is not there, you have an Akshar Patel. Similar role, you'll be like, okay. But with Hardik Pandya, we don't have anyone. So, you have to replace him with 2 cricketers, and that always happens.
Yeah. So, players to look out for tomorrow. 1 from India, 1 from England. So, we'll start with India first. Joy.
I still believe that starts are big for India. I'll go with Rohit Sharma. I think he's really important for India.
Excellent. You go with Rohit. Who do you go with?
I'll go with Shubman Gill.
Shubman Gill, right. So if you've taken 1, you've taken 2, I'll take 3.
Right? Virat Kohli.
Yeah, there you go. 1, 2, 3, Maharaja Mixi. Now we go with England. Who do you start with?
I think Jos Buttler has to make, and I don't know whether they'll change the batting, but I don't think they will. But I think Jos Buttler has to come to the party some point. I'm hoping it's tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm not hoping it's tomorrow, but yeah. But as a neutral commentator, I'm hoping it's tomorrow.
Just 1. You want only Jos Buttler to get runs and the others can get ducks, you don't care.
Joe Root.
Joe Root. All right. So Joe Root, Jos Buttler. So I'll go for a J as well. I'll go Johnny, Johnny, yes, Papa. All right, so I'll go with Johnny Bairstow. So we've got 3 J's over there. So those are our guesses for tomorrow, players to watch out for. We have one last piece of business, which is again with J, the joy factor question.
Very nicely done. Nicely segued. Okay, veterinary Ravi Shastri and Anamol Haq Jr. are the youngest to achieve this feat for New Zealand. Who is it for Australia? And of course, it was the youngest.
I just want to apologize. It's nothing to with what I thought.
No, it is actually. You said youngest and said...
No, did I say young? I said left arm spinner and
yes, you did.
coal pack player. Nothing like that though.
Okay, it's basically Pat Cummins, and these are the youngest players to take 5 wickets in a test innings for their respective countries.
Oh.
So Ravi Shastri, if you remember, when he was literally put on a plane halfway through and sent on a tour of New Zealand.
Yes.
And got 5 wickets out there.
Wow. All right, who got it right? Let's have a look at our winner for today. It is Rajesh.
Rajesh has won many. I think if you gave away red tables like you promised, his room would have been full of it. Let's put it that way.
I don't have any idea what you're talking about. That table is white now.
You are a promoter. He should be selling real estate, the way he goes about. Oh, fancy.
That's why I did Kosla ka Gosla.
Would you like to buy a long tower which is in the south of Delhi with greenery around it? Would you?
Not from you.
Starts with Q. It's called the Qutub Minar. If any of you are keen to, great property, great views, all greenery around. Yes, you can put swimming pool also. It's not there, but you can put it, no problem. All right, it's time for us to go. We're going to see you tomorrow. It's a Sunday. But we'll be here working because, hey, this is not really work, right? It's fully chill. England is playing tomorrow. We have Michael Vaughan who's flying in. He's going to be here. And I feel like we may or may not troll him a little bit.
Yeah, Gaurav, please, on all our behalves, give him a good time. Give him a good welcome.
I will. I promise I will. Just a little bit. I know guest is God and all that. But just a little bit.
I know that. Mehman Bhagwan hota hai.
Oh! I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
I have nothing left to teach this young one. Go forth and conquer, young Jedi. Oh my God, I can't explain to you how full my heart is at this point in time. It really is. I think I'm going to sign off now because I have to sit and cry some tears of pride. Dinesh Karthik, you have made me proud.
Thank you.
Joy Bhattacharya, as usual, I have learned from you. Thank you so much to the both of you for spending this day with me. All of you, thank you so much. I'm Gaurav Kapur. This was Cricbuzz Live. We will be here tomorrow for more entertainment and enlightenment at 1:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Do join us then. Good night.